Hey everyone, I hope you're well. This is the story about what if Naruto was Hashirama's heir. Before we start, please subscribe to the channel and like the video as well. Also share this video with your friends. I've also created a playlist of this what if and other what ifs, where you'll find all the parts. Make sure to check them as well. So without any further ado, let's start the what if. Time skip, 3 years later, Naruto age 13, nearing 14. Today was the day Naruto would finally become a shinobi of Konoha. A prepared Naruto was ready for the Genin exam today. It had been a journey that started with him crying into the Hokage's robes when he was 6 up to this very moment now. And boy, Naruto was feeling good. Naruto had grown to a nice height of 5 feet 4 inches tall. He even changed his wardrobe due to him becoming an actual shinobi today. Naruto wore a black, unzipped tracksuit with 3 orange stripes on each sleeve with a mesh shirt on underneath. To finish his outfit, he wore black pants and black sandals. His hair was still identical to the Yandeme's and his face matured more to show his age. Naruto had many good things going for him at this point. He was handsome, smart, and quite powerful for his age. His training was still progressing at a great rate. Naruto yielded incredible results over the years under the tutelage of Tora, his Aianbu sensei. Naruto felt on top of the world and was ready for whatever the shinobi world had in store for him. Naruto's chakra reserves only increased at this point. He could easily throw around jutsu after jutsu without feeling the usual effects of exhaustion like other ninjas. Naruto was a chakra monster, and it didn't help that his chakra control had only gotten better. It wasn't high enough to use something like Iryo ninjutsu, medical ninja techniques, which require precise chakra control, but it wasn't far off from it either. Naruto also found time to delve into fuinjutsu, sealing techniques. The Sanda was messing around with Naruto after Naruto claimed to want to surpass the Yandere. Hiruzen told him that since the Yandere was a sealing master and if Naruto wanted to truly surpass him, he'd have to become one as well. He didn't expect Naruto to ask him for lessons right after, but was sort of happy he did. They met twice a month since the Hokage was a busy man, but Naruto had done well. His handwriting had become perfect, well, at least good enough by fuinjutsu standards. There were 10 levels of fuinjutsu and Naruto was on level 2, which dealt with storage seals, and the efficiency of making them as a storage seal was one of the simplest seals. He had gotten it down to 45 seconds when making one and couldn't progress to the next level until he got it below 30 seconds. Due to his sensei's training regimen, Naruto honed the shinobi basics until he got them down to near perfection. His accuracy with using and throwing shuriken/kunai became second nature to him. He was now just as accurate on the run, blindfolded, or in midair as he was standing still. It was a perfect 10 of 10 on the bull's eye. Naruto's taijutsu blossomed well along with his shuriken skills. Despite still only using his modified academy style, he was still formidable in it. His speed nearly doubled with all the exercises he did and the heavier training weights he was now using. Naruto learned to even add chakra to his strikes to make them slightly more powerful. Now it wasn't to the extreme of one of the famed Tsunade Senju punches, but it bolstered his attack strength. Tora had said that in a flat-out taijutsu fight, Naruto could best most Chunin at his current level. Genjutsu progressed nicely for Naruto as well. He finally got down the 2 genjutsu his sensei taught him. One of those being Meigen, Jigaku Koka no Jutsu, demonic illusion, descending hell technique, which creates the illusion of a huge fireball falling from the sky toward the target. It is only AC rank and pretty easy to spot and dispel. His second genjutsu was more effective than his first one, the Nihon Shoja no Jutsu, Temple of Nirvana technique, which generates sleep-inducing, imaginary white feathers that upon being seen make the target fall into a tranquil state of slumber. When it comes to spotting genjutsu, Naruto had gotten better and his ability to break them had moved up to a few A ranks. He was fine with that at the moment. Like always, Naruto's ninjutsu progressed the most, so much so that he seemed like a specialist. Yet and still, Naruto managed to add a lot of new ninjutsu to his arsenal, though most were for his, still hidden, Mokuton. Naruto finally got his Shunshin no Jutsu, body flicker technique, battle ready. No leaves or smoke, just a simple after image. It couldn't catch keen-eyed or Chunin level opponents off guard, but it was still something at least. On to his element progression. For Doton, Naruto added only one new jutsu to his list. That jutsu being the powerful Doton, Doryuden, Earth Style, Earth Dragon Bullet, which creates a mud dragon, which proceeds to rapid-fire mud bullets at a target. Naruto still favored Doton over Suiton and Futon and as such, used them the most. For Suiton, Naruto added another B rank like his Earth Dragon. The Suiton, Suigaden, Water Fong Bullet, which creates a powerful liquid mass brought forth from the water as it becomes compacted and adds a spinning motion to increase damage. It was a great jutsu and one that attacked an opponent in a 360 around them with multiple rising Fong-like water attacks. In Futon, Naruto finally learned a jutsu for his third element. It was simple but a great technique that would grow as Naruto grew. Futon, Daitapa, Wind Style, Great Breakthrough, was a technique that created a sudden gust of wind that with enough skill, could become more than just a C-rank jutsu. Its power depended entirely on the user. Since awakening his Mokuton, Naruto spent the most time getting better at it as it easily became his favorite element. Mokuton had the strength of earth and water's fluidity. It was the perfect element in Naruto's opinion. And Naruto soaked up as much on it as he could from his sensei as possible in the last 3 years. Naruto already knew the Moku Bunshin no Jutsu, wood clone technique, and had finally perfected it. After the clone technique, Naruto learned the ever-versatile Mokuton, Daijirin no Jutsu, wood style, Great Forest technique, which changes one's arms into branches. It could be used to either capture an enemy or there could be sharp stakes added to the end of the branches to add a deadly edge. Another jutsu Naruto had mastered was Mokuton, Mokujahiki, wood style, wood locking wall, which creates a powerful, domed wall made of interlocking wooden pillars. And finally, Tora taught Naruto his favorite jutsu thus far, Mokuton, Jukai Koten, wood style, nativity of a sea of trees, that creates a forest in mere moments. And he was only getting better. Naruto also learned his sensei's name, Tenzo. Naruto also figured out Tenzo could use Mokuton as well. Upon asking if he and Tenzo had any relation to one another, Naruto learned that Tenzo was a product of an experiment done by Orochimaru that gave him the ability. Despite his ability to use Mokuton, since it is injected into him, he couldn't use it on the same scale as Hashirama. Naruto didn't have that problem. His Mokuton was genetically passed down and it showed when his Mokuton was noticeably stronger than his sensei's despite just learning it. Naruto had room to grow and his power could match Hashirama's in Mokuton, given enough time. After Naruto's 12th birthday, Tenzo decided it was time for the meeting to take place between Jinchuriki and Bijou. Flashback, almost 2 years ago, Naruto age 12. "You want me to meet the Kyuubi?" asked an anxious Naruto. He was not scared or anything, more like excited to finally meet his Bijou. Tenzo smiled at Naruto's eagerness and said, "Yes Naruto, I think it's time you set up a relationship with the Kyuubi. There's no point in having all that ability and not using it." Naruto was ready. There was silence for a moment. "How do I meet the Kyuubi?" asked a sheepish-looking Naruto. Tenzo couldn't keep from chuckling at Naruto's expense. It's been said that when a Jinchuriki mediates, they can consciously enter their mindscape to interact with their Bijou, so that's what you're going to do. Have at it. So Naruto did as instructed and sat in the lotus position and clasped his hands together in a ram seal. After about 10 minutes of steady breathing, Naruto felt a tug in his mind. When he opened his eyes, Naruto noticed he was in a tunnel. Looking behind him, he saw a wall, so Naruto went down the only path, which was forward. After what seemed like an hour, which wasn't a whole second in the real world, Naruto met a cage. A huge cage. After not noticing another presence or any movement behind it, Naruto began to wonder if he went the correct way. "Hello?" After no response, Naruto thought he did something wrong and was about to leave until an eye opened. A giant, red, slitted eye. Then another opened. And finally, the shadows covering a massive fox with 9 tails lifted. "So this is my Jinchuriki. Finally, come to meet me, I see," said Kyubi after staring at Naruto. "Yes, I am. My name is Senju Naruto, and I am happy to finally meet you," said Naruto with a smile. Normally I'd tear you to shreds just because, but your chakra is very calming and it's soothing. Not to mention this cage and seal keeping me from doing so. So in the meantime, I'll humor you," replied the Kyubi as it placed its head on its crossed arms. Naruto didn't show outwardly a reaction to the prospect of being torn to shreds, but he did gulp on the inside. "Well, I just wanted to get to know you better. You've been in here for 12 years and I still know nothing about you besides what legends say," said Naruto as he continued with, "Well, when I was researching the bijou, I found out there are 8 other like you in the world. And one thing I noticed was that the Ichibi has a name, Shikaku. So it made me wonder, do all of you have names? If so, what's yours?" The Kyubi became shocked. It had been able to hear what the boy's sensei had said this visit would be for and thought his Jinchuriki would just come in here demanding power. So when the Kyubi heard Naruto's question, you could hear the surprise in its voice. "You, a kid, are the first human to ask if I have a name for as long as I have existed in this world. For that I thank you," said the Kyubi as he became more interested in his container. "Kurama, my name is Kurama." Naruto couldn't keep the smile off his face. This had started better than expected. "Well, Kurama, if I may, why did you attack Konoha?" said Naruto as he held a stern face. He had always wanted to know, since it never added up to him, that the Kyubi would just attack out of nowhere. "To be honest, a man with a Sharingan manipulated me. Just because I'm near omnipotent, I don't go around destroying places just because I can. So while hypnotized by this masked man, he set me upon your village until your yandere managed to seal me into you. Well, it's good to know that you didn't attack Konoha of your own volition or that you're not a homicidal bijou hell-bent on destruction. Can you explain why this place looks like this?" "I'd thought it'd be more complex like the seal on me," said Naruto as he thought it looked like a sewer. "It is not a sewer, kit," said Kurama as Naruto looked shocked but then remembered, he was in his mind. So obviously his thoughts could be heard here. "And for why it looks like this I cannot say. Though it is cozier in here with your Mokuton-infused chakra circulating throughout this place, permeating the air here. Well, as long as you're comfortable, then I'm okay with it. Now, down to the nitty-gritty of why I'm here. My sensei sent me in here to somehow find a way to gain access to your chakra. I figured we could become partners. You do realize that with your Kekkei Genkai, you could just steal my chakra at will, right? Yet you still asked me to use it?" asked a confused Kurama. "I wouldn't like it if someone just stole my chakra. I'd want them to ask permission, and you know the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. So I decided to ask you if you'd lend it to me." What a surprising kid. From what I've seen of his life and his thoughts, I can tell he's different from the rest. Maybe I'll give this kid a chance. But mainly because it would be foolish for a Jinchuriki to not have access to his bijou's chakra. Thought Kurama before he said, "Sure, kid. But first, there are risks when using my chakra. My chakra is extremely powerful, too powerful for you to wield a lot of it at your current level. At most you may only be able to use a tail of it while still being able to control it without harming the wrong people. It wouldn't matter even if you could use more, the seal is so tight that only a tail of my chakra is accessible to you at this moment, you'd have to find a way to loosen it somehow. Even then, you'll have to earn my trust to gain further access to my chakra." "Well, can't I just rip that seal tag off?" said Naruto. "It's not that simple. This piece of paper means nothing unless you loosen the seal itself. Plus I wasn't going to give you more than one tail in the first place, so don't worry about it for now," said Kurama. Naruto agreed with what his bijou said and decided he would do all he could to earn Kurama's trust. I mean, if Kurama was there, why shouldn't they be friends? He was just glad that he had been given access to his bijou's power in the first place. After an exchange of goodbye, Naruto left his mindscape. When Naruto returned to the physical world, he noticed Tenzo still standing there looking at him expectantly. Catching the hint, Naruto channeled some of Kurama's chakra and entered his Jinchuriki state. "Well, what do you think?" asked Naruto as he was now covered in a shroud of reddish-orange chakra. Tenzo became impressed. He didn't believe Naruto would be able to get access to his Biju's chakra, but, "Looks great, Naruto, I can feel the oppressive chakra bearing down on me. But is that as far as you can go? If not, go as far as possible and then tell me how you feel." Naruto nodded his head as he channeled a little more of Kurama's chakra and entered a one-tail state. Instead of just a flame-like shroud, Naruto's cloak morphed into a bubbly, red chakra that took on a fox's shape, complete with a tail of chakra swishing behind him. "I feel incredible. I feel faster and a lot stronger. This chakra. It's full of energy. Life energy, it feels like." Naruto performed the snake hand seal and thought, "Mokuton, Jukai Koten, wood style, nativity of a sea of trees." Instantly trees sprouted from the ground all around Naruto at a much quicker pace than before and were even taller as well. Seemed Kurama's chakra has its perks. "My Mokuton is stronger when using this chakra. I love it," said Naruto as he moved around a little to test out how he felt using it. Seems we should spar so you begin getting used to using your Biju's chakra. This will help so you're not attacking your teammates," said Tenzo as he readied for Naruto's assault. "Let's go wild." Flashback end. "Good times," said Kurama in Naruto's head. Naruto and Kurama were now on good terms throughout nearly 2 years of knowing each other. It was a weird relationship. But then again, what wasn't weird about a 13-year-old human boy and a fox-shaped collection of energy that was given consciousness being friends? As Naruto was heading to the academy, a kind woman outside her shop greeted him. "Hello, Senju-san. It is good to see you this morning. Today's the day of the Genin exam, correct?" After a smile and nod from Naruto, she continued, "Well, good luck and do your best, I'll be rooting for you," said the woman as she waved goodbye with a smile. Naruto smiled and waved back as he continued toward the academy. Things changed since he became a Senju. Though it did take a month, a few blood test results, and the verbal promise of authenticity from their longest tenured Hokage for the Konoha populace to finally accept Naruto's stature as a Senju. Even still, he still wasn't the most popular person in Konoha. A name meant nothing, even the Senju clan name, because he was still perceived as the Kyuubi that attacked on his birth. But a few people, such as the woman just now, had begun to open up to him. So into his thoughts about his training, Kurama, and Konoha, Naruto didn't realize he was stepping into his classroom. Once he noticed it, he immediately headed toward the open seat next to Sasuke. Sasuke had opened up to Naruto after that beatdown he received that day 3 years ago. Sasuke had asked if he could train with Naruto and even thanked him for helping him awaken his Sharingan, even though it was accidental. After a few times of training with Naruto and getting to know him, Naruto and Sasuke had become good friends, best friends. Sasuke improved greatly while training with Naruto. The first thing Naruto taught Sasuke was how to tree and water walk. Naruto claimed that his ninjutsu increased immediately after doing those chakra control exercises. Sasuke knew Naruto was right when he performed a Katan, Gakakyu no Jutsu, fire style, grand fireball technique, and saw how much bigger and hotter it became. When Sasuke had reawakened his Sharingan, he still only had one tomo in each eye, but after spars with Naruto and since Naruto didn't pull any punches against him, it evolved into its 2-tomo state. Sasuke had eventually started to hit Naruto in their spars. Though there was still a gap between their skill levels, Naruto was far stronger and Sasuke wasn't afraid to admit it. But they were rivals, Sasuke had to catch up. So as Naruto came to sit down, the two shared a fist bump as they talked about the coming exam. "This is the day we start our journey as Konoha ninja, Sasuke," said Naruto to his friend. "Ichin," came the perfect response to anything from the Uchiha. "You ready? You won't freeze up again from having flashbacks?" asked Naruto as Sasuke had told him about the massacre. He was the first person who Sasuke shared his view of the story with since it happened. "Yeah, I'm fine. I'll be good. Can't have you trying to outshine me here. I'm the Rookie of the Year, can't let that stop me from becoming a Genin," said Sasuke with a confident smirk. "PSSSH, I could still kick your Rookie of the Year, as you know. Titles like that mean nothing in the real world," said Naruto in a challenging tone. Sasuke turned his Sharingan on as he stared at Naruto. "You want to test that theory now?" said Sasuke. "Ooh, so you got pink eye with a pretty eye pattern. That doesn't scare me at all. Your body can't keep up with your eyes. I find that hilarious, to see a punch coming in super slow-mo and still know there's nothing you can do about stopping it." Said the Uchiha as he began to get mentally prepared for the exam. Meanwhile, Naruto could hear Kurama chuckling in his mind with "pink eye" said repeatedly between laughs. Out of nowhere, a red and purple blur came bursting into the room at roughly the same time. "I win," came the shout of one Sakura Haruno as she stepped through the doorway with Ino by her side. "You wish, the only hope you had in winning was because your forehead gave you a reach advantage," came the snappy reply from Ino. "You're just mad because Sasuke wouldn't date pigs like you," rebutted Sakura. Before Ino could reply, one of the other civilian girls shouted, "Why would we want Sasuke when Naruto-kun is way cuter? Have you seen those adorable whisker marks?" As Ino mentally agreed and was glad that she didn't say the same thing. Ino had wanted Sakura to become better and she knew the competition would help, so that's why she kept going along with this whole Sasuke feud, even though Ino crushed on Naruto. Ino liked Naruto ever since she was 9. One day, Naruto handed her the brightest purple lilac she had ever seen, and upon seeing it, noticed his eyes matched the lilac, which was her favorite color. She had found out that Naruto liked flowers and anything dealing with plants. She also got to spend time with him when he'd volunteer at her family's flower shop. The flowers always seemed to look better when he came by. Plus he had the prettiest eyes ever and they were her favorite color. "Did I already think that?" thought Ino as she looked at Naruto, chatting with Sasuke. Her thoughts ended the moment Iruka-sensei entered and ordered everyone to take a seat. After a long, arduous speech from him, the exam started. Iruka and his assistant, Mizuki, began handing out the written exams. Mizuki was a man of average height and build, similar to Iruka. He had white, neck-length hair and wore the standard Chunin outfit of Konoha. To complete his outfit, he wore his forehead protector bandana style around his head. Naruto had always been able to sense the bad vibes coming from Mizuki. Naruto never told anyone about it due to him just believing he was prejudiced about his Jinchuriki status. So Naruto just let Mizuki hate on him. Naruto loves his haters anyway. After the simple written exam that Naruto did the bare minimum to pass, it was time for the practical exam, which consisted of a taijutsu spar with an instructor and demonstration of the 3 basic techniques. Many of the students did well in this part of the exam. Sasuke had even managed to get a few nice hits on Iruka and got a 9 out of 10 for his efforts. Kiba finished with an 8 out of 10 and so did Hinata due to her gentle fist style. Choji received a 7 with his clan's techniques. Shino got a 6. Ino, Sakura, and Shikamaru all got a 4, though Shikamaru forfeited once he got his 4th point, which was just enough to pass. Then we had Naruto's turn, who somehow got the ironic luck to get paired with Mizuki. Naruto could already tell that Mizuki would try to harm him, but Naruto wasn't worried in the slightest. He welcomed the challenge. What occurred became known as the greatest ass-whooping ever given by an academy student to a Chunin instructor in history. Mizuki never got to move, Naruto was on him too quickly and the match ended as quickly as it started. After Iruka said Hajime, not a second later, and a surprise Shunshin that Mizuki could have countered had he not been overconfident, Mizuki felt pain. Left jab to the face, right cross, followed by a roundhouse kick, but before Mizuki could go to the ground, Naruto planted another kick that sent Mizuki careening past Iruka. 10, definitely a 10. Since Mizuki was out cold, Iruka just continued to the ninjutsu portion alone. Shino Aburame. Pass. Choji Akimichi. Pass. Sakura Haruno. Pass. Hinata Hyuga. Pass. Kiba Inazaka. Pass. Shikamaru Nara. Pass. Naruto Senju. Pass. Sasuke Uchiha. Pass. Ino Yamanaka. Pass. There were also another 18 civilian children who passed the exams as well. After Iruka gave another speech on how proud he was of his students and what life would be like now that they were shinobis of the leaf, he let his students leave. The academy was over with and now it was time to meet their senseis, which was tomorrow. "We made it," said Naruto with a smile on his face as he tied his black forehead protector around his forehead. A smile that everyone in the group of 9 reciprocated. Well, with Shino, you couldn't see, but Naruto could sense he was happy. "We should go to celebrate. Anyone want barbecue?" said a happy Choji. "Troublesome, but I'm in," said Shikamaru with a smirk. After a chorus of agreements, the entire gang that would later on be dubbed the Rookie 9 headed to one of Choji's family-owned restaurants. They all shared a great time at the restaurant. They knew that this would be the last time they'd all be together for a while once they separated into teams with their senseis. Eventually, they all went their different ways. Choji and Shikamaru headed to Shikamaru's house. Kiba, Shino, and Sasuke went back to their respective houses. Ino and Sakura disappeared to Sakura's home. And Hinata had politely excused herself back to her clan compound. Several hours later. A few hours had passed and Naruto began to wander around Konoha aimlessly, determining what to do. It seemed the sun was going down soon, so he'd be able to watch the sunset from Hokage Mountain. With a shunshin, Naruto sat atop of the Yandame's head. Naruto felt at peace. He felt good and nothing would change that at all. After the sun went down, Naruto decided to head home to get some rest before tomorrow. On his way, a shinobi went flying past him and nearly crashed into him. Naruto was turning around to say sorry when he noticed the ninja had kept going. "Wait a minute, that's Mizuki-sensei. Wonder what he's in a rush for. Ah, well, wait, is that a scroll on his back? It looks familiar, where have I seen that scroll before?" asked Naruto in his head. Then it hit him, that was the Hokage's scroll of seals. A scroll that contained many dangerous techniques that are mostly kenjutsu, forbidden techniques. But why did Mizuki have it? Why would Mizuki head outside of the village with that scroll? A scroll that only the Hokage could touch? Oh, he's stealing it and you're still sitting here, trying to figure out what he's doing. "It's obvious," said an irritated Kurama. Naruto had the decency to look sheepish. He made sure no one was watching him as he created a Moku Bunshin, wood clone, and gave it instructions to alert the Hokage. After taking care of that, Naruto immediately pursued Mizuki to stop him. Forest, nearing edge of Konoha. Mizuki had never been happier in his lifetime. The forbidden scroll, he had finally gotten a hold of it. Now all Mizuki had to do was hand it to Orochimaru and he would get the power he sought. Mizuki started to get excited at how he was so close to his dreams. However, he halted when he saw the Kyuubi brat appear in front of him. "Mizuki," said Naruto with a serious face. "This night just got better," said Mizuki with a sadistic laugh. "The gods must love me to have you, of all people, show up here right before I leave. I can finally drop the act and kill you after all these years, fox boy. Didn't I just thrash him earlier today? Is he crazy?" thought Naruto with a deadpan. "It would seem so," said Kurama with a chuckle. "Don't give me that look, demon. You know why the people of this village hate you?" said Mizuki with an evil glare. "It doesn't matter," said Naruto, whose face hadn't changed since first arriving. "It's because you're the Kyuubi. You're that piece of shit fox who assaulted Konoha years ago. And now, you pathetic demon, I'm going to kill you," said Mizuki dangerously as he pulled an oversized shuriken off his back. "Naruto, I don't care how you do it, kill this guy." "Who does he think he's talking about here?" said an agitated Kurama, who was aggressively trying to send chakra into Naruto to get him to tear Mizuki apart. "I can't kill him, but I'm sure Gigi will know what to do with him to appease your needs," said Naruto in his head as he denied Kurama's chakra. "Are you done?" asked Naruto in a bored tone. "What?" asked a slightly confused Mizuki, as he thought that the boy would have a mental breakdown at the news. "I already know what's sealed into me, but I am Konoha Genin, Naruto Senju, and nothing will change that. Before I curb stomp you something serious, I have to know, why did you steal the scroll? For power? Or was it to give it to someone else?" said Naruto sharply. "It seems I have to give you a little credit, but even a fool is right some of the time. Since you'll be dead here shortly, why not tell you? Lord Orochimaru tasked me with the retrieval of this scroll, and in return, I would become his right-hand man. He would give me great power and I would be able to show everyone that I'm strong," said Mizuki madly as he threw his shuriken at Naruto. Orochimaru, one of Konoha's biggest traitors. The same one that performed that experiment on Tenzo-sensei, thought Naruto as he sidestepped the shuriken. "That is a terrible mistake on your part, Mizuki, and I cannot forgive a traitor of my village," said Naruto as he performed the ram hand seal and slammed both of his palms on the ground. "Doton, Doryohiki, Earth Style, Mud Wall," thought Naruto as a huge wall sprung up behind Mizuki. Mizuki briefly turned his head around and looked in awe at the jutsu used by the demon. He had no idea he could use ninjutsu of this caliber. In the short amount of time it took Mizuki to turn his head around, Naruto clapped his hands together and was ready to fire off another jutsu. Suiton, Suidan no Jutsu, Water Style, Water Bullet Technique. Naruto fired off a huge bullet of water at Mizuki, who braced himself for impact as it plowed into him. Due to Naruto's mud wall behind him, Mizuki didn't travel far before impacting off the wall behind him. As Mizuki slowly overcame the effects of the jutsu, he steadied himself with a kunai in hand and charged at Naruto. Naruto pulled out his kunai and clashed with Mizuki's own. Mizuki, being physically stronger and taller than Naruto, had the advantage over Naruto and eventually managed to dig his kunai into Naruto's chest. Mizuki smirked upon seeing Naruto's shocked face, but that quickly disappeared as Naruto reverted to mud. Replacement. He barely had time to turn around to see Naruto coming right at him. Mizuki felt every bit of air leave him from the Kurama-powered elbow to his stomach. Mizuki fell on his hands and knees trying to regain his breath, but before he could recover, he met unconsciousness as his body hit the ground from Naruto's dual-handed axe punch to his back. When Naruto noticed Mizuki stopped moving, he relaxed a little and went over to retrieve the scroll. He then stomped Mizuki one time to keep with his word of curb stomping him. Naruto tied Mizuki up and carried him and the scroll back to the Hokage Tower. Hokage Tower. Hiruzen stood in his office when Naruto came in and told him about the Scroll of Seals incident and grew worried. However, he visibly relaxed when it was just a clone and the real Naruto was already in pursuit of Mizuki. He knew Naruto could easily handle Mizuki, but he did send Anbu out to make sure the scroll made it back and that Naruto was okay. Hiruzen knew that Mizuki had grown complacent and his skills had dulled, so Naruto would have no trouble in defeating him. He was proven right when Naruto came into view with a Shunshin carrying both Mizuki and the Scroll of Seals. "You know, that was a pretty fast Shunshin, Naruto-kun," said Hiruzen with a smile as he was glad Naruto had come back unharmed and with the scroll. "Thanks, GG. Well, I caught Mizuki, beat him down, and brought back the scroll," said a cheery Naruto as he fist-bumped his clone, who then dispelled itself. Then Naruto got serious and said, "Orochimaru is involved in Mizuki's treachery." This news startled the aged Hokage, as anything Orochimaru related was of terrible news to Konoha. His favorite student had developed into a major pain in the ass, and it was his fault for not ending it all those years ago. "I'm too old for this," thought Hiruzen with an aged sigh. Nevertheless, the scroll was back and Naruto caught the traitor so he could be interrogated for more information. He might even let Ibiki pull out all of his tricks. Hiruzen shivered at the thought. He didn't know how Ibiki become as sadistic as he is, but he was glad that he was not on the other side of an Ibiki interrogation. That man was brutal. "You didn't peek in the scroll, did you?" said the Hokage with authority. Of course not, Gigi, that scroll is for the Hokage's eyes only, said Naruto with a smile. Good, said Hiruzen proudly as he realized how much Naruto had grown in the past years. He was well on his way to becoming a great shinobi. Well, thank you, Naruto-kun, and I say that on behalf of all of Konoha, since what you just did was a great service to the village. Now get ready for your registration and team assignment. I'm so proud of you and good luck. Hi Hokage Gigi-sama, said Naruto with a mock salute. After that long day, Naruto did nothing but walk in and plop down on his bed. All the while anticipating tomorrow's event. Naruto awoke today feeling amazing. Today, it'd all be official. Naruto would register, then head to the academy to meet his Jonin sensei. After getting ready, Naruto trekked off to get his registration taken care of. After the short walk and getting his ninja face on for his photograph, Naruto headed in to give his papers to the Hokage. Hey Gigi, said a happy Naruto after spotting Hiruzen decked out in his Hokage attire as usual. Hiruzen smiled upon Naruto's arrival. Naruto seemed to always brighten people's days, or at least his. Hello Naruto-kun, I see you have your ninja registration, he said as he held out his hand to grab Naruto's papers. Well, Konoha Genin, Naruto Senju, ninja registration number 012607, you are official and looking good there my boy, said Hiruzen with a warm smile. Before Naruto could reply, he sensed someone coming toward the door. After a few seconds, that person came flying through the door wielding a paper shuriken. The assailant had short, spiky brown hair. He wore a yellow shirt with Konoha's symbol on it in red, gray shorts, and a long blue scarf. He was a kid who couldn't be older than 8. Today's the day, old man, shouted the kid as he charged at Hiruzen. However, 2 steps in, he tripped on his oversized scarf and fell flat on his face. The Sandaime sighed as he stated, Naruto, this is Konohamaru. He wants to defeat me in a battle to earn the Hokage title. That was the most pathetic attempt at beating someone I have ever seen, said Kurama watching the scene in amusement. Naruto mentally nodded at Kurama's claim. And eventually, after that moment of shame, Konohamaru had gotten up and pointed an accusing finger at Naruto. You tripped me. I was this close to beating the old man, but you had to ruin it, said Konohamaru in a murderous tone. You tripped on your scarf. I had nothing to do with your failure just now, said Naruto, confused about how he got into this predicament. Another person entered the room, cutting Naruto from his musings. Honorable grandson, came the voice from a man named Ebisu. Ebisu is a Tokubetsu Jonin, special Jonin, of the Leaf who wears the standard outfit of Konoha shinobi without the flak jacket. He also dons a pair of black sunglasses and wears his forehead protector bandana style. He is also known throughout the Konoha shinobi populace as a suck-up, and as such brown noses those above him or those with enough significance. Since he only heard Konohamaru yelling and didn't realize he was talking to the Senju boy, he said, You scoundrel, what did you do to the Sandaime's grandson? Upon hearing that declaration, Naruto's eyebrows raised slightly as he looked back at Konohamaru. Konohamaru smirked when he saw Naruto's face and expected he'd kiss his feet like everybody else upon realizing who he was and how the Sandaime was his grandfather. I did nothing to Konohamaru here. He tripped on his scarf. And I could care less if he's the Sandaime's grandson. That means nothing to me whatsoever. Titles like that are pointless and, even if we were going by that, he'd lose as I outrank him being related to 2 Hokages, said Naruto, who waved goodbye to the Hokage and disappeared via Shunshin. This got varied reactions around the room. Hiruzen watched the scene pleased as he knew Konohamaru liked being called Konohamaru and not honorable grandson. He had a name. Konohamaru was staring in awe, not because of who Naruto's ancestry was, but because he called him Konohamaru and not to mention how cool he looked vanishing like that. Ebisu became shocked. If he had known it was Senju-sama he was speaking to, he would have changed what he said to him. Naruto appeared at the academy, where he trotted into his class and took his usual seat next to Sasuke. After an exchange of greeting and since he was so early, Naruto decided to take a nap. After about 20 minutes, Iruka walked in to give out the team assignments as Sasuke woke up Naruto. Beginning today, all of you are real shinobi. But you're still merely rookie, genin, the hard part hasn't begun yet. Now you will soon be assigned duties by the village. Today, we will put you in your 3-man teams and assign each team a Jonin sensei. You will follow their instructions from this point on, said Iruka with a proud smile as he gave out the team assignments. Naruto could care less about any team that wasn't his or one of his friends. So he didn't care until he heard his name called and was happy with the team. Team 7 is Naruto, Senju, Sasuke Uchiha. Mentioning those two names, it seemed every girl in the room who hadn't been picked yet sat hoping for placement with the two hottest guys in their class. Sakura Haruno. Your sensei is Kakashi Hatake. Yes. Love prevails overall, said Sakura as she fist-pumped the air for being with Sasuke. There were also some incoherent mumbles of bullshit, not fair, and foreheads with my man. Iruka continued after quieting down the class. Team 8 is Shino Aburame, Kiba Inazaka, and Hinata Hyuga. Your sensei is Kurina Yuhi. Team 9 is still in circulation, so Team 10 is Choji Akimichi, Shikamaru Nara, and Ino Yamanaka. Your sensei is Asuma Sarutobi, and with that said, Iruka bid them all good luck and farewell as their senseis would arrive shortly. 2 hours later. One at a time, each Jonin came to pick up their team right after Iruka finished speaking. However, it had been 2 hours and Team 7's sensei hadn't arrived yet. Sakura was fuming at this point, wondering why he hadn't shown up. Naruto remained calm and even shut his eyes to sleep some more. Sasuke was in between each of them. He was calm like Naruto, but his eyebrow twitched every few seconds to show his irritation. I don't care if this guy's a Jonin. Who the hell is 2 hours late? Shrieked a practically seething Sakura as she ground her teeth together. Naruto opened his eyes as he said, Sakura-chan. You're loud again. Sakura blushed with embarrassment. Naruto had told her she shrieked at times, and after everyone's agreement, she had begun to try to tone it down, though she still had outbursts occasionally. Shortly afterward, Naruto perked up slightly and stared at the door. A few seconds later, a man with gravity-defying, silver hair came through the door. He had on the standard outfit of Konoha shinobi along with a face mask that covered his nose down. He also wore his headband around his forehead, though it slanted down to cover his left eye. Team 7. After a nod, he said, my first impression of you guys, you seem like a nice bunch. Meet me on the roof in 5 minutes as he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura made their way to the roof to meet up with Kakashi. Once they arrived, they noticed their sensei was reading an orange book. He looked as if he was oblivious to his surroundings, but Naruto could see the critical eye he had on them. After Kakashi noticed everyone was ready, he began. Glad you all made it. Now, how about we start by having you all introduce yourselves, said Kakashi as he put his book away. What should we say? Asked Sakura. How about your likes, dislikes, dream for the future, and your hobbies, answered Kakashi with a bored tone. Could you go first? As an example, said Sakura with a smile. Kakashi let out a sigh, fine. My name is Kakashi Hatake. I do not want to tell you my likes or dislikes. Dreams for the future. I have many hobbies, said Kakashi as he pointed at Naruto to go. Naruto grew disheartened as he only learned his sensei's name but smiled at it being his turn to introduce himself. My name is Naruto Senju. I like ramen, forests, and gardens. I dislike the 3 minutes it takes to make ramen and traders. My dream for the future is to surpass all the Hokages and protect this village, that way everyone has to acknowledge me. Hobbies? I have a bonsai tree and training, said Naruto still smiling. He's grown up interesting though, Kakashi. Next, said Kakashi looking at Sasuke. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. There are tons of things I dislike and only a few things I do like. And I don't use the word dream, for I have an ambition. To revive my clan and kill a certain man, said Sasuke. Figured as much, thought Kakashi. And lastly, the girl, said Kakashi to Sakura. My name is Sakura Haruno. I like, said Sakura as she peeked at Sasuke. I mean, the person I like is my dream for the future. Oh my. The thing I dislike is Ino Pig, finished Sakura. Typical girl her age, love over jutsu, thought Kakashi before saying, well, tomorrow marks the start of Team 7. I'll see you all tomorrow for survival training, said Kakashi. Survival training? But didn't we do enough training in the academy? Kakashi-sensei asked a confused Sakura, who also had looks of confusion from Naruto and Sasuke. This training is different. I will be your opponent, but that is not all. This is an exam in which only 9 out of the 27 graduates will pass. It has a 66% failure rate, said Kakashi with a chuckle at his genin's faces of shock. You will meet me at 8 tomorrow morning. Bring your shinobi gear, and I suggest not eating breakfast, said Kakashi, and before anyone could ask him any more questions, he vanished in a poof. Naruto pondered those words before he too told his teammates goodbye and left via a shunshin. Sasuke decided to do some more training for tomorrow, and Sakura just headed home to also prepare for tomorrow as well. It would be a big day. The next day, 11 a.m. The next morning, it had been a long 3-hour wait as Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura arrived at 8 awaiting their sensei's arrival. Sasuke stood leaning on a tree scowling slightly as he waited. Sakura was inwardly fuming again. Naruto mediated as he waited, still racking his brain over what Kakashi said yesterday. Naruto then opened his eyes as his sensei appeared several seconds later. You're late, came the yell from Sakura as Sasuke and Naruto agreed, although less vocal than their pink-haired teammate. Upon noticing the questioning looks from his genin, Kakashi explained his tardiness. I was on my way here when I saw a black cat cross my path. I didn't want bad luck, so I took a long way around, said Kakashi in a tone that seemed that he was completely honest. Sasuke and Sakura immediately recognized the horrible lie. However, Naruto immediately understood, he wouldn't want bad luck either and probably would have walked around as well. Okay, it's set to noon, said Kakashi as he pulled a clock out and sat it on one of the training posts. He then took out 2 bells and said, here are 2 bells. Your task is to take one of these bells before noon. Those who cannot get a bell, get no lunch. Not only will I tie you to a stump, I'll eat your lunch in front of you, continued Kakashi as his 3 students' stomachs rumbled. That's why he said not to eat, thought Naruto as he was slowly concluding today's training. You only need 1 bell. And since there are only 2, I will tie whoever does not get a bell to this stump here. Also, that person fails and will go back to the academy. Meaning at least one of you will be going back, no matter what. You may use any ninja tools you have. I recommend coming at me with the intent to kill, otherwise, you won't get a bell, said Kakashi as all of his genin got ready. After Kakashi said to start, all 3 of them immediately scattered. After a few moments of nothing, he pulled out his book and proceeded to read. Several minutes passed by and Kakashi just shrugged as he continued to read his book. They'd have to come for him anyway. Sasuke was hiding in some trees watching Kakashi with a scrutinizing eye, trying to find the best time to strike Kakashi. He then felt a presence behind him. Naruto, what are you doing here? Whispered Sasuke. We need to find Sakura. I have something I need to tell you both, said a completely serious Naruto as he took off to find Sakura. Sasuke would have argued had he not seen the seriousness from Naruto and promptly followed him. After a few minutes, Naruto and Sasuke landed near the underbrush where Sakura was hiding. After making her come over to them, Naruto started. This test is bullshit, said Naruto, completely confusing Sakura and Sasuke. What do you mean, Naruto? And hurry up. You're wasting my time. I need to get one of those bells, said Sasuke, irritated that Naruto still hadn't got to the point yet. Sakura-chan, what is the standard genin team in Konoha? Asked Naruto. After a prompt 3 genin, 1 jonin answer from Sakura, Naruto continued, "Thank you, with that in mind. That makes this test even more bold. We are never going to take on a jonin in a battle coming freshly out of the academy. Gigi wouldn't allow it in the real world. It just doesn't happen, so why now? The only way our chances would rise is if we work together, and even then the chances are still near zero," said Naruto as Sasuke and Sakura listened intently to their friend speak. As it was rare when he did speak like this, but usually his analyses were pinpoint. Kakashi said this test had a 66% failure rate. Meaning only 9 of us will pass. From what Sakura says, you can only have 3 genin teams, full genin teams. That means this test is about teamwork, not getting the bells, said Naruto, completely confident in his deduction of this test. So we need to work together. And in the case that I am wrong, you can both have the bells. I don't mind doing another year. Sasuke and Sakura merely nodded their heads. They weren't completely convinced but figured, working together with Naruto, they had a better chance of getting the bells than working alone, especially since Naruto would willingly fail for them. So after a quick plan from Naruto, they set off to face Kakashi. Several minutes later, Kakashi still stood in the same spot since the beginning of the test. He lowered his book slightly to see Naruto standing in front of him. You know it's basic shinobi knowledge to hide one's presence and strike from blind spots, right? Said Kakashi as he put his book away. He knew how good Naruto was. Naruto replied with, "It wouldn't have made any difference. 1. You already knew where I was. 2. You have one of your eyes covered, so you likely have found a way to cover your blind spots as you create a huge one with only one eye. And 3. I figured out your test, it's teamwork but there is a major flaw in it," said Naruto. Kakashi grew impressed with Naruto's analysis. He was right on each point, though he did wonder what the flaw in the test was. "And what would the flaw be?" asked Kakashi as he readied for Naruto's assault. "You can't expect 3 fresh genin to come in and show teamwork to that level. Teamwork happens over bonding with each other through missions, team meetings, and being with one another. Though it is a great test to find out if a team holds the will of fire, it's still difficult to do all of that in just 1 hour," said Naruto as he placed a hand in the half-ram seal. Naruto performed a shunshin to begin his assault on Kakashi. Kakashi nodded at Naruto's explanation. He then turned around and blocked the kick to his head from Naruto. The speed behind his kick is immense, that's why it hit so hard due to the momentum built up, thought Kakashi as he continued to block each of Naruto's strikes. He then saw Naruto do a low sweep kick and jumped over it. He grew surprised when Naruto immediately stood up faster than before with a kunai in hand and went to cut the strings holding the bells to his waist. He cut the string slightly before Kakashi batted the kunai out of his hands and they jumped back from one another. To think he'd be able to get that close to the bells. Impressive, thought Kakashi before he saw Naruto hold the tiger hand seal. Nien Shoja no Jutsu, Temple of Nirvana technique, thought Naruto as white feathers appeared around Kakashi. Kakashi immediately recognized the genjutsu and dispelled it with ease. However, as soon as he dispelled it, several kunai struck him squarely in the back. Sasuke had been mildly surprised when his kunai hit Kakashi. He did according to the plan. Once Naruto activated his genjutsu, launched the kunai at Kakashi to catch him off guard. Though he wasn't disappointed as he saw the customary log take Kakashi's place, signaling a replacement. Shortly after that, Sasuke heard a scream. It seemed Kakashi had taken out Sakura. "Damn, guess we go to plan B," thought Sasuke as he activated his Sharingan when he noticed Kakashi behind him and engaged the Jonin in taijutsu. Kakashi wasn't surprised to see Sasuke's Sharingan, he had read about it in Sasuke's file. However, he was in for another shock as after a few blocked hits and Sasuke's impressive agility, Sasuke managed to touch one of the bells. Upon noticing it, Kakashi immediately disengaged and slid a few feet away from Sasuke. However, he didn't notice the 3 lines of mud on the ground around him. The lines were in a perfect square surrounding Kakashi, with the only uncovered side being the one facing Sasuke, who was going through several hand seals as Naruto landed beside him with his palms placed on the ground. Doton, Dorihiki, Earth Style, Mud Wall, thought Naruto as the mud around Kakashi rose on all three sides, creating a sort of tunnel facing his two students. At roughly the same time, Sasuke finished his hand seals and placed a hand near his mouth. Katan, Gokakya no Jutsu, Fire Style, Grand Fireball Technique, said Sasuke as he unleashed a huge fireball from his mouth that flew toward Kakashi. Kakashi was about to jump up to avoid the jutsu when he noticed an equally big water ball flying down towards him. Naruto must have created that before landing next to Sasuke to activate his mud wall. Damn, that's a good combo, thought Kakashi as the area inside the mud walls exploded with steam from the fireball and water ball combination. Steam continued to rise from the impact area, obstructing the two Genins' view. Once it cleared, they noticed there was no trace of Kakashi anywhere. Underground, thought Naruto, but it was too late as a hand grabbed him and Sasuke and proceeded to drag them both underground. Kakashi soon popped up a few feet away and smiled at the two heads with his lone visible eye. Doton, Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, Earth Style, Double Suicide Decapitation Technique. That was nice teamwork from you two, a great combination. You almost had me there, but you didn't. Too bad you didn't get a bell. As I'm sure you would have been great to have on my team, said Kakashi as he then noticed Sakura charging at him. Seems Naruto must have woken her up while I was in that taijutsu battle with Sasuke, thought Kakashi. Sadly, Sakura was way too weak to face Kakashi. However, before she got to him, Kakashi found himself in a full Nelson from Naruto. Due to the shock of Naruto's unexpected arrival, he didn't notice the kunai from Sasuke cut off the bells. Sakura made a dive for the bells since Kakashi was still stuck in Naruto's grip. It was all for naught as the timer went off right as Sakura made it to the bells. So close, thought Naruto as he let go of Kakashi and they all made their way to the stumps. They passed with flying colors, but why not find out to what extent, thought Kakashi as he tied Naruto to one of the stumps. Kakashi asked how Naruto got out of the ground so fast and with the answer of Doton, Marurigakure no Jutsu, Earth Style, hiding like a mole technique, he nodded at the statement. At which point, Kakashi told them that they failed the test since none of them could get a bell, but since they used teamwork, he'd give them another chance. Since Naruto attacked him first, then he wouldn't be allowed lunch. So after handing Sasuke and Sakura a bento and leaving instructions to not feed Naruto, he vanished in a poof of smoke. We were so close, said Sakura as she opened her bento and began eating. HN, said Sasuke as he agreed and couldn't wait for another shot at the Jonin. We'll get him next time, said Naruto as he was wondering if he was wrong in his judgment of the true meaning of the test. They should have passed, right? Yet they didn't, was he wrong? Eventually, his thoughts were cut short as his stomach quaked upon seeing Sasuke and Sakura eating their food. When that happened, he was in for a shock as Sasuke offered him his bento. We need you, said Sasuke begrudgingly. Had it not been for you, we would have not been so close in the first place. So here, eat up. You will not be at full strength if you are handicapped by hunger. Naruto was even more surprised when Sakura also offered her bento. Sasuke-kun is right. You need to eat something and you can eat from mine since I don't eat as much as Sasuke-kun, said Sakura as she placed a bit of food on her chopsticks and was inches away from feeding Naruto when boom! A huge plume of smoke appeared and out stepped an irate-looking Kakashi. You dare defy my rules. I told you not to feed Naruto, yet you disobey my orders and do it anyway. What do you have to say for yourselves before I give out divine punishment, said Kakashi as he held the ram seal and the sky darkened considerably and lightning danced around it. Freaked out by the sudden appearance of Kakashi, Naruto shouted, because we're a team. And teammates look out for one another. That's what Konoha's built upon, teamwork. Well, if that's all you have to say, then you, said Kakashi as all the genin closed their eyes awaiting their punishment, pass, said Kakashi with an eye smile as the sky cleared back up. What? Came the intelligent response from Sakura. Kakashi merely pointed to the memorial stone and stated, "Naruto was correct. This test was to find out your teamwork and willingness to work together. I gave you all a near impossible task with rules created to make you split up and work for yourselves. Had you forsaken your teammates and worked alone, you would have failed, even if you did get a bell. You all did the opposite, and that is why we are now officially Team 7. Remember these words: those who break the rules are scum, but those who abandon their friends are even worse than scum," finished Kakashi. The three Genins looked on with various expressions. Sakura fist-pumped at officially being a team. Sasuke merely smirked in his cool way, though you could see his excitement. Naruto, however, was crying tears of passion at the line that would forever be engraved in his heart. They were Team 7 and nothing would change that. Now tomorrow, we will begin missions and training to work more efficiently as a team. I expect to see you guys back here tomorrow at 9 AM, until then, said Kakashi as he disappeared again in a puff of smoke. When Kakashi left, Naruto escaped the ropes that bound him to the stump as he asked, "So you guys want to train since we still have a whole day left? We all need more work, especially you, Sakura. Sasuke and I are more advanced than you, and we need all the links of our team to be better if we want to be the best team possible," finished Naruto as Sasuke nodded and looked at Sakura expectantly. After a moment, Sakura agreed. She would get to spend more time with her Sasuke-kun and become a better ninja in the process, since her lack of help against Kakashi-sensei was eye-opening. Time skip, 6 weeks later. D-rank missions, chores if you asked Naruto, were horrible. Team 7 had done 48 D-rank missions in the past 6 weeks, from walking dogs and painting fences to catching the elusive Tora, pet cat of the Fire Daimyo's wife. In those 6 weeks though, Team 7 held many training sessions together. Usually, 3, sometimes 4 times a week outside of missions and teamwork training with Kakashi. Naruto stayed relatively the same, steadily trying to increase the speed of his Shunshin and master his ninjutsu arsenal. Kakashi even showed Naruto another clone technique, as he knew about Naruto's Mokuton and Moku Bunshins, wood clones, and that he still didn't want to show it. It was the simple Iwa Bunshin no Jutsu, rock clone technique. Naruto also moved to level 3 of Fuinjutsu, sealing techniques, involving exploding seals. He began to attach them to his earth clones to add a deadly surprise to the simple clone technique. Sasuke added a few more fire jutsus. One of them being, Katon, Hosenka no Jutsu, fire style, Phoenix Sage Flower technique, which emitted a volley of fist-sized fireballs from the user's mouth in an unpredictable way. He also added the powerful Katon, Ryuka no Jutsu, fire style, fire dragon technique, which creates a powerful stream of fire from the user's mouth that takes on a dragon's appearance. Also during that time, he managed to learn several Sharingan genjutsu from his clan's library. For some reason, Kakashi even gave him tips. How Kakashi knew so much about the Sharingan was above him, but he accepted it with no questions asked. The person who progressed the most was Sakura. She began with physical exercises that at first were brutal on her due to her not getting the correct nutrition into her body. However, after hearing Naruto and Sasuke tell her to quit her diet since it'd make her body more capable of handling this type of training, it began to bear results. Her stamina, speed, and strength had improved greatly over the past 6 weeks. Naruto and Sasuke had also found out that Sakura had amazing chakra control, since she was able to get tree walking and water walking relatively quickly. Since her chakra control was so good, Naruto suggested she become a medic nin. Sakura was happy with the suggestion, since she knew she wouldn't be able to catch Sasuke and Naruto in the other shinobi arts, but being a medic nin added value to her place on the team. Sakura had learned the beginning medical ninjutsu, the Shosen no Jutsu, mystical palm technique. Though she could only heal small bruises and cuts, it was still better than nothing, and she was proud of herself. She felt more important on the team nowadays, and her confidence skyrocketed as a result. Kakashi, noticing the progress his team had made individually, smiled because they took it upon themselves to get better. As such, he was more than happy to give out tips to help them. Due to them blossoming so well, he decided they had enough of D ranks, and it was now time for their first C rank. It was a simple bodyguard duty to escort Tazuna, a bridge builder who lived in Wave Country, back to Wave Country and guard him while he finished a bridge. It was more than easy enough for his team to handle, and tomorrow they would set out on their first C rank. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, comment down below and let me know. Also share this video with your friends. I have created a playlist of this what if where you guys can find all the parts. See you in the next video.